Thank you for purchasing Reformer replacement springs from Merrithew Health and Fitness. This video will guide you through the assembly of our product, but please consult your owner's manual for more detailed instructions, information, and parts identification. We advise you to review the equipment and maintenance schedule in your owner's manual for a daily, weekly, and monthly checklist that will keep your equipment in tip-top shape. Changing your springs every 2 years keeps your equipment performing at its best, maintains spring resistance, and ensures that your equipment is safe for everyday use. If you discover any missing parts or need further assistance along the way, call 416-482-4050, extension 264, or email us at customercare@merrithew.com. Before we begin, remove all springs from the package and place them in a cleared area in front of you. We recommend that you have someone with you to assist you in removing and reinstalling the carriage. To replace your springs, you'll need the following tools: 2 1/2" by 7/16 inch or 12 mm wrenches, and if you have a vertical frame, you'll need 1 1/2" by 9/16 inch or 14 mm wrench. Okay, let's get started. If you have a vertical frame, you'll need to remove it. To do this, remove all springs from the vertical frame, including the roll-down bar and safety chain, and loosen the hex bolts at the base of the vertical frame. Now, using 2 people, secure the push-through bar by hand and lift the vertical frame out of the receptacles. If the vertical frame has seized into the receptacles, use a rubber mallet and tap the underside of the outer elbows to release it. Place the frame out of the way until it is time to reinstall it. Next, remove the carriage. Start by first detaching the soft reformer loops and pulling the ropes out of the pulleys. Loosen the star knobs and remove both pulley bars from their receptacles. If your reformer has removable shoulder rests, take them out as well. If you have an SPX rack and roll client model reformer or at-home SPX model reformer, you'll need to remove the stopper plates at the end of the rails with a screwdriver. Now detach the springs from the gear bar, grasping the spring with one hand and holding the gear bar in place with the other. Using 2 people, carefully slide the carriage out of the aluminum rails, keeping it level until it's completely free from the rails. Turn the carriage on its side, ensuring the floating rollers are on the top side and do not fall out. Then turn the carriage completely upside down and place it on the ground or on a raised surface. If necessary, place a blanket or other soft covering on the floor first to protect the vinyl of the carriage. Now remove the springs. Using a 7/16 inch wrench or adjustable pliers, hold the cube at the end of the spring firmly in place. With another 7/16 inch wrench, turn the nylon lock nut counterclockwise. Once removed, discard the used nylon lock nuts, as you will use the new lock nuts provided with your new springs. If you have older style springs that do not have the cube at the end, you'll need to grasp the spring coil a few inches away from the end and bend the spring down forcibly to 90 degrees or more to hold the spring bolt in place and prevent it from spinning. Now unscrew the nylon lock nuts using a 7/16 inch socket wrench. Remove the springs on your reformer. Now to attach the new springs. First, determine which replacement spring package you have. Springs are color-coded with a ring at the ball end. Black is 125% tension, red is 100%, blue is 50% tension, and white is 25% tension. If you have 3 red springs, 1 blue spring, and 1 white spring, then you have the high precision spring package. 4 red springs and 1 blue spring is the traditional spring package. The Power Up spring package has 3 black springs, 1 red spring, and 1 blue spring. When installing your new springs, black or red springs go in the outside slots, with the lightest springs in the center. If you have white and blue, blue goes in the center with white to one side. If you have just blue and red, blue goes in the center. First, remove the nylon lock nut from the spring bolt. Slide on the spring sleeve and thread the spring through the space in the spring holder. Insert the spring bolt through the corresponding hole on the spring anchoring bar. Now thread the nylon lock nut onto the spring bolt. Hold the spring side fixed nut in place with 1 wrench, and using the second wrench, tighten the new nylon lock nut on the other side of the bolt. Both the nylon lock nut and the spring side fixed nut should be snug up against the spring anchoring bar. Repeat each of these steps with the remaining 4 springs. Dispose of old springs appropriately. Now, affix the spring replacement sticker on the underside of the reformer carriage. The date your springs were shipped will appear on the sticker that came with your spring replacement package. Springs should be replaced every 2 years. With new springs in place, you can replace the carriage on the reformer. First, remove the carriage stopper and wipe the inside of the aluminum rails to remove any dust or dirt. Spray onto the cloth first, and not directly onto the surfaces, rollers, or aluminum rails. Then you can put the carriage stopper back into one of the 6 positions. With 1 person at each end of the carriage, carefully turn the carriage and slide it back into the rails. If you have an SPX rack and roll client model reformer or at-home SPX model reformer, you'll need to reattach the stopper plates at the end of the rails with a screwdriver. If your reformer is an older model, tighten the star knobs. If your reformer has the new quick set pulley posts, insert them and lock them into place using the pop-up pins. To finish, engage springs into the gear bar, ensuring that the ball end falls into the indentations. If your reformer has a vertical frame, you can replace it now. That's it! You can now start enjoying your new springs. For further information or assembly support, please contact our customer service team or visit our customer care area at merrithew.com.